Okay, so this is the first one of these videos I've done in a little while. I thought I'd do it now because I've been up to quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. It's just some sort of crazy coincidence that after not doing any direct action at all for ages, since the climate camp, when I helped at a biofuels protest, two came up within about a week of each other. The first one was at the head offices of EON. EON are a German company who've recently bought assets in the UK, and they're planning to build the first new coal plant in 30 years here. When the electricity sector was privatised in the 1980s with Maggie Thatcher's government, it became far more economical to use natural gas. This resulted in a large decrease in the UK's carbon emissions, purely due to more efficient utilisation of fossil fuels. And now EON in 2008 are planning to reverse this, boldly leading the energy sector back to the Stone Age. So there's a lot of groups currently who are active against these, a broader set of groups than you might imagine, from development groups working on health, human rights, the Women's Institute, obviously various environmental groups as well. So really it's become a rallying call that's brought together over 60 NGOs in the UK, as well as lots of grassroots movements such as people involved in the Camp for Climate Action, who are involved not so much in lobbying as directly stopping EON with its carrying out its plans. So there was a direct action at EON's headquarters, at EON's offices. A group of us went along dressed as Santa, and this may be a tradition where you are, it certainly is in the UK, that if someone's been bad, all they get for Christmas is a lump of coal. So we took them several lumps of coal, several sacks of coal, which we then put under their Christmas tree in the just out within their offices, and people went round and gave lumps of coal to the staff and gave them renewable energy reports, and we got video of all this, and there was quite a bit of local press, and the BBC did a piece on it. It wasn't the sort of thing that everyone in the UK knows about, but it got quite a bit of publicity, and we felt that it was a successful action at, again, raising the issue and showing to EON that they're not going to get away with this easily. So that was one thing, and that was really great. It was all quite secret, and then when we all sort of got along there, we realised that there was a lot of familiar faces, and there was a really good mood. And in that case, there were 4 arrests in the end, and 3 of those happened at the very end of the day. And considering the spirit of the protest and sort of how much we got up to, that was, we were all pretty pleased with that. Then about a week later, there was an action at Plain Stupid. Now, you probably will have heard of this, certainly if you live in the UK you will have, because this got huge national press coverage as well as some international coverage. We basically broke into Stansted Airport using wire cutters and took fences with us and the bases of the fences, put these down on the runway, basically put a compound around us, which we then secured with bolts and ratchets and so on. So once that was pretty solid, so you couldn't easily move it, we then put chains and D-locks around it. Some people put D-locks round their neck and then onto the fence, so the fence couldn't easily be lifted. We managed to stay on Stansted Airport for around 5 or 6 hours, and around 60 aeroplanes were turned around or just cancelled. The time we did it was carefully selected because Stansted was actually closed, so we were preventing it from opening again at the correct time. The advantage of this was that there was no endangerment to people who were would have been flying out of or flying into the airport, because there wasn't suddenly people on the runway, which would have been dangerous. What actually happened was, due to the timing, there would have been, I believe, one plane already in the sky on its way to Stansted, but around 3 hours off, so it could easily be diverted. So that plane would have had to be diverted, and later ones would have either been delayed or cancelled. Now, Plain Stupid hasn't done anything like this before. I mean, it's famous for direct action. A group of people from Plain Stupid, for example, went onto the roof of the Houses of Parliament and put a huge banner down the building, making the connection between the British Airport Authority, BAA, and the government. The government have been working very closely, and embarrassingly closely in some cases, such as getting BAA to write sections of the consultation. So Plain Stupid were trying to highlight this, and that action got extremely positive press all around the country, and a lot of people heard about the issues involved and fully supported the action. Now, that's quite different to actually inconveniencing passengers. So there was a bit of a leap, say, do we really want to cause this inconvenience to regular people who are just going off on holiday and this kind of thing? And at the end of the day, it's just a matter of what can you do with such an urgent situation as climate change. What can you do to get as much publicity as possible, as many people talking about it as possible? We wouldn't expect that there would be sympathy towards what we were doing. A certain number of people who know about all the details of climate change and how many, literally hundreds of millions of people will be displaced, and the dangers, the famine, everything, the full extent of it, those people would most likely be sympathetic. But for the general public, the way that this would be effective or persuasive would be by us providing a platform for other people to talk about issues. So although they wouldn't support what we're doing, they would support the case that people would make from the platform that we would provide for them. So we think it was a amazing action. It worked supremely well, and I got arrested for the first time ever, which was with all these people actually, and friends and so on, and the moods were great. It was actually not half as bad as you think it would be, and yeah, definitely well worth it to be part of something. The plan didn't work perfectly, and about so rather than 120, I think there might have been, or just over 100, there was about 60 of us made it onto the area just next to a runway. It wasn't on the runway, but just next to it is good enough, so they had to prevent it being open for several hours. And it was just a really good event. In saying that, when I went to the police station, all the police were pretty friendly, just no problem at all. When I got home after some hours being held while they were apparently searching my room, I found that it was a bit like I'd been robbed, to be honest. I got back, and everything from my walls had been removed. Like all leaflets and bits of information and events I'd been to or was thinking of going to, all that had been removed. For some reason they took my printer, they took my mobile phone, they took all my credit cards out of my wallet, and my membership card to Kew Gardens, and quite a few other membership cards I'd got, and they took my camcorder with nothing in it. It's just a camcorder. I'm not sure why they won't take that. So it's slightly inconvenient, to say the least. I've got no access to money currently, so I've cancelled all my cards, and they're all being replaced in a few days, and I'll most likely have to borrow money from work for the meantime. And yeah, the other aspect of this, I guess, would be dealing with my friends and family and my flatmates, because when the police came to search my room, 8 of them turned up at about, I believe it was about 11 o'clock, and 8 police officers searched my house for about 3 hours.